I have in our last segment a little maybe game, maybe just brain teaser. I don't know. And it was a I don't know how to describe it. It was a Reddit thread that I found very interesting, and then I just want to broaden it a little bit, and I think it could be a fun discussion.
Sure.
The thread was: does anyone else think phones with squeezable sides were great? Okay, fun. We already disagree.
Did you hear that in the mic? I shook my head so hard my headphones almost came off.
Yeah. But I wanted to take this as, are there any features that are missing in phones that we used to have that maybe we miss? Or if you want to take it one step further, features we used to have in tech that are now gone that we miss. But I also want to start with, I do miss squeezable sides.
What?
Yeah.
Why? Did you enjoy using them? Or do you like the idea of them?
No, I liked them. I liked the best time I used them.
Oh, you're talking
was,
about the squeeze, not the buttons, but the
No,
squeezable side.
no, not squeezable buttons. Okay.
I was
very
I went down the
different.
path. I pictured remember the U11?
I was going to say, I think squeezable buttons are the reason HTC doesn't make phones anymore because they failed so bad on that.
They fell on their face there. So
they did do squeezable sides,
assistant.
Or I think it could even just be like squeeze for a customizable quick action.
I found it okay.
I liked being able to, if I were like going out on my Pixel 3 when I had it, if it were cold out and I had gloves going to the car, I could just like on my way out, grab my phone, squeeze it and be like, text Claire, I'm on my way home. And
Gloves
just like
is fun.
very easily be able to like throw out a couple really quick text messages without having to do any unlocking or anything like that, which I really liked.
Yeah.
One scenario.
But I believe you can also just say the hot word and do that.
I don't like having lock screen hot word activated. I think this is Google's own problem, but I don't know if you see this too. You use Google Assistant, like Google Home Home, right? Yeah. So like I have found it just does not work very well. And it seems to be like whichever device in my house can get to the question first, that's where I'll play through. And sometimes my phone seems to beat my Google Homes, and I hate when that happens at home.
Sometimes it asks me, like I'll be testing a new phone and I'll say the hot word out loud for the first time, and the phone will answer when I didn't want it to, but then a little pop-up will say, hey, did the correct device answer that you were expecting to answer? And I hit no, and then usually it fixes itself.
Yeah.
So when I'm in the room with the assistant speaker answers.
I still have I've had some issues still with all that happen. I mean, I still even have issues where if I'm in my living room, my kitchen, Google Home picks me up and I just hear that like, I hear that far away. Cause like we don't have like full doors. We just have like entryways, I guess, throughout that. It's close enough, but that's why I liked the squeeze version of it as one of them instead of lock screen. Cause I usually have that disabled because my house likes to play Ring Around the Rosie of who gets to answer it.
It makes sense. For gloves, it makes sense. I like swiping up from the corner. And I use a hot word for talking to it, but I can swipe up from the corner to get the assistant anywhere, which is good enough for me.
I think you can also... Can you long hold power button within lock screen?
Some phones, yes.
I should know this. Okay, it does.
Yes, Pixel will do it. Some phones, like the Zen phone, will give you an ability to do it if you want to, which is... God, the Zen phone is so good. A lot of phones, that's not one of the options. Samsung, Bixby. But yeah, that is a thing I could say we miss in phones. I think there's a lot of obvious answers that I can already see the commenters typing, like the headphone jack.
Yeah.
Or front-facing stereo speakers, like boom sound speakers.
Fair. The headphone jack one... It's so far gone. Yeah, like good speakers are definitely one of them. Google kind of brought it back this time, and I'm sure some other phones do it, but like a real ultra wide selfie camera was something I was surprised they took away. It's coming back. Then there are like on top of that, MacBooks finally brought back SD card slots, which is like crazy. Are we in this trend of now like they took it away and now they're bringing it back?
Most companies don't like to admit when they were wrong, and they won't even say out loud that they were wrong. But when they bring back something that they previously made a big deal about getting rid of, you can tell they know that they were wrong, and that's good enough for me.
You know what you did. So I was trying to think of like maybe some other phone feature that was less obvious. I feel like Adam's got one.
Fingerprint sensor on the back.
On the back,
Not on the display.
a bunch of phones in a row for a couple of years when I was in college all had a little dimple in the back of the phone, and you would put your index finger right, like that's kind of like you just instantly
it's like it naturally sits there.
I hate that we're talking about that like it's a decade ago.
A couple years ago.
It wasn't that long ago, but we're talking
6
about it
years
like
ago.
the good old days where like you had to walk to school. And
Back in my day, I had a Pixel 4a, and
It was like 6 to 9 years ago. There were a bunch of phones that all did it.
yeah, I love
And
them.
then we got some on the side, and then they obviously moved to the front and then under the display. But that's a good one.
I like on the side also. I'm very surprised we don't see that more often. It seems. Would you argue it's cheaper than in display?
Oh, it's cheaper,
It's
yeah. for
still
sure.
tough. Like it's tougher than on the back because it's still a really small area. But like the power button,
It would just always be faster, and like I guess it would be an extra thing to put on the phone as like a special area. They all like having the smooth glass back now, and they don't really do that little.
oh, you're
dimple as
talking
much.
about a back one or
back one.
the like side?
Power button. I think that's easy to do.
Yeah, I don't know why more people don't do it. It's like Zenfone, one of the only people.
Yeah, right
Doing
now,
it now?
yeah, it reminds me of the S10e back in the day.
Yeah,
Am I
Claire
old?
still uses that
But yeah,
and
that,
loves it.
and the swiping even you could have it do that. Yeah. No, there's a couple phones that do it, and the Zenfone's one of them. But I actually was just about to say, I remember when we had that theory, which was like, you have the under display fingerprint reader now, and it's kind of small. It's just a little circle, and you can miss it easily.
yeah.
But aren't they supposed to get bigger and bigger until it's like the whole bottom half of the phone, and you just like slap anywhere on the bottom half of the phone, and it reads it? That just didn't happen.
No,
Not at all.
hasn't even really inched much closer.
They haven't gotten meaningfully bigger or faster.
Would
in
you
a
argue
while.
that got like stifled from, hey, here's this, but like very quickly finding out that under display was not as secure. So then everyone focused way more on security, which meant keeping precision and less, because like the old OnePlus fingerprint sensors that were just like
Yeah.
pretty easily fooled. You could probably throw that anywhere on the screen pretty easily, but now when you have to do these ultrasonic, very precise, secure ones.
I think it's actually cost. I think it's actually just like having a huge sensor that big behind the display glass that works is a very expensive technology.
Fair.
And we just haven't found a way. Like if you were the smartphone company that could take this standard size one or take the one that's 20% bigger, and you can't really make a huge deal about it being 20% bigger because most people won't notice, you'll probably just take the standard size one. And so now we're just stuck with a bunch of standard size ones, and nobody's willing to like actually make a bigger and bigger one. And there's like, once in a while, there's like a concept phone where it's like, yeah, both your thumbs anywhere on the bottom half. It's super secure because it's two fingers, and it's anywhere on the bottom half, so it's super fast. And you're like, yes, that's the future. But it never happens. We're not getting there. That's one of the things for my list.
Interesting.
I do stand by that the HTC M1, M1,
one M8.
yes, HTC, but specifically the Google Play edition.
Oh,
HTC
Google Play. Yeah.
One.
My whole
M8.
point in this podcast is just to see how many times you can bring back Google Play editions so we can eventually bring back Google
That
Play
was such a
edition.
good phone. 2014, I reviewed this phone. Favorite phone, probably of all time. That's tough. I mean, it's not. It's maybe not number one, but it's easily top 5 favorite phones of all time for me.
Okay. What about a feature or something that you hope never comes back? That is dead.
Fake buttons.
Fake buttons, like
I
what we were talking
hated
about
that.
before.
Oh my god.
Fake buttons.
I don't know why. I feel like there's a bunch of Samsung seems to really love just like swinging for the fences on accessories and missing. Do you remember like the bikini case for the
Yeah,
Samsung S8?
S10, S8.
I think it was
might have been
S8, and they also then had that. It was the keyboard you could put on the front of the phone, and it would like basically be tapping the screen. I
block
think.
half your
Oh
but
my
then now you
God.
had a BlackBerry keyboard.
But
on
now you
your
had a
Samsung
BlackBerry
phone.
keyboard.
Yeah, that doesn't have to come back. The thing is, I
They
think
do
fake
not.
buttons are going to come back, which is
I think it's inevitable they come back.
they're going to try it again.
They're
They're
going
going to
I
get
hope never comes back. What? The rollerball. Do you remember like the Nexus One?
Oh man,
back in the day?
a
the
trackball.
HTC
like a little
Droid Aris
trackball
had
thing.
one.
I never got to daily a phone with a trackball. I
was
kind
not
of
a
like
good
the
time.
idea.
Did you? The Aris had one. The thing was, it was touchscreen already, so like you never used.
Yeah,
it.
the Nexus One, same thing.
Yeah.
And the T-Mobile G1 also had one. I never got to daily any of those phones.
Oh, okay.
I had the Droid, which had a D-pad and a touchscreen.
Yeah, but you never used the D-pad for like selecting apps
I think
or
I
stuff
did
like that,
for
right?
text. I think if I go to landscape and I was like just on the keyboard, then I would use the D-pad to move around.
That's a good point. Also, the ball on the Eris would be okay for like, back then it wasn't quite as easy where if you're texting and then you realize like, oh, I made a mistake to just touch it, like rolling back on the ball through characters was much easier.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind that coming back.
Bring it back.
I don't think.
Where would it go?
I don't think modern phones would do it because it's not waterproof or like.
Yeah,
it's not actually feasible to bring it back. And we have
a full screen. Like, where on earth would it go?
It wouldn't have much utility. It's not coming back.
I would imagine. Have you ever used like a mouse with an iPad?
Yeah, like the floating.
Yeah, you know how like
pointer?
the little dot moves. I think it would like snap around like that.
Yeah,
and I would hate that.
So you're saying add it to the iPad? Add a little roller ball to the side of the iPad. That would really truly compete the most confusing lineup of iPads of all time. They make a new one and it just has a little roller ball on the side. And you're like, which iPad is this?
They could make it waterproof if it was like an under display rollerball.
Oh
like
my
the
God.
Screen just has a little bulge in it at one point.
What if they just add the Lenovo rubber,
the little red nipple,
the ThinkPad joystick?
The ThinkPad joystick.
Yeah.
The joyless stick.
On the corner of the iPad.
There we go. New iPad coming at you.
You hold it by the edge, right by the lightning port or whatever iPad you're using, and just use the joystick all the time. Hey, thanks for watching this clip of the podcast. I just wanted to end this real quick by saying that if you guys can get the Waveform channel to 110 million or 115 million followers so we can be on the top of the Twitter list, that would be pretty sick. But we'll take any platform. YouTube subscribers would be cool. Twitter would also be super cool. Snapchat would be kind of a bummer, but we'll take it. Be real. Don't even know how that works, but we'll just try 110 million on anything. We just need all of you guys watching. Hopefully there's 110 million people watching this video to hit that subscribe
The math
button.
Checks out. That'll
easy.
work. I think so.
Yeah.
I've seen the metrics.
So yeah, squeeze that sub button.
Squeeze it?
Squeeze it.
Is that what you do on the
sides of old phones back in the day?
I was wondering if that was the new redesign name for it.
It does a little animation.
Try it. Try squeezing it. See what happens.